Hey, what's going on, good people? It's your boy Tez back at you with another Digimon episode review, breakdown, whatever you want to call it. But we have officially reached the halfway point and it's getting serious. But good things have finally come. We finally got everybody. And I mean, everybody is finally here. But first and foremost, if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. And when you do, make sure you got the bell notification turned on for any other content that I may be putting out, or if it's just for these Digimon videos that you want to come back to, and I appreciate that. So let's get into it. So opening to the actual episode, we see a big gathering of what appears to be Vaidmon at this obelisk that we find out later is a hunk of Millenniumon's body, like a shard fragment from the original big piece of his body. And it's basically somewhere hidden in the cloud continent, but they can kind of feel from what they say his desires to have a newer and more stronger body and to be reborn as soon as possible. So we do also transition back over just to see what's going on with the rest of the crew, seeing how everybody's still doing the things they do. Izzy is still conveying the impending doom of Japan, and like I know it's been like maybe 3, 4, 5 episodes, and of course because this one is on a bigger scale with much more happening in the digital world, it may not be as quick, though none of them were originally quick in the beginning. I'm just kind of like, all right, we know bad things are happening. We know because of the energy that's being pulled from the real world and the different little viruses that are affecting said things. Of course, it just makes sense to keeping us up and informed on it, though I kind of really don't care. I just like what's going on in the digital world. It's bad to see what's happening in the real world. It is, but I really do prefer what's going on with the guys and the gang back in the digital world. So we also see Matt still doing his thing, running across the plains. Joe is still in this hot spring. Now, if you remember in the last episode, he seemed to be in dire straits against this Blossomon. Well, Blossomon has now become more friend than foe, and they won't let Joe leave. So Joe's in his whole conundrum, still trying to figure out how he's gonna get away. He's just like, yo, he's gonna rise to the occasion because he's the oldest, he's the boss, he's the leader. And the Blossomon's like, no, you and Gomamon can sit down. Pump your brakes, Prima. We just gonna leave it here. Let's have fun. Everyone's having fun. You know, us, the Nanimon, this is where you need to be. So I'm laughing at the fact that Joe can't get away, man. Poor Joe. And then Mimi and Togemon out here getting bands and jewels thrown at him. I mean, like, bro, from after winning this slugfest, Golemon, or aka Big Stacksmon is what I'm calling him from here on out. My man's out here making it rain. I'm talking about throwing jewels, the Gatsumon throwing them up. And shit like celebration, bro. I'm telling you, if there's anybody in the digital world you ever want to be, excluding the sincerity and the crybabiness, Mimi is who you want to be in the digital world, bro. She's out here living her best life and she is thugging it with no cares. I can't complain. So we see Ty and the others are still in a hurry to get Hikari back, but you know, we do still see that Hikari is with Skull Knightmon riding on the back of Dark Meldramon, and we don't really know much of what's going to be happening. But then something does actually happen. We see a horde of Kakuamon fleeing away from a site, and then lo and behold, there is Skull Knightmon with the shard in hand. And then Skull Knightmon uses this shard in his hand to raise more shards, which I believe are either collecting the energy or the varying fragments of Millenniumon's old body. So also, side note, in addition to the Vaidmon being very weird at this obelisk or this shard of his body, they're actually relaying a lot of the information that we don't know about, or the will of Millenniumon is what I would like to call it, like the voice of all things. They're the voice of Millenniumon. So they're filling in all these different blanks just about, oh, how the power is being collected from the real world, what's happening with the crystals, the thing with the crystals, all the things that are basically coming to a pivotal point that will cause his resurrection. Come to find out, Skull Knightmon was chosen alongside the actual Digidestin of the Chosen Child of Light to be used as a sacrifice to become his next his sacrifices to get his body back. I don't know why am I just beating around the bush? That's exactly what they're gonna be. And I'm just like, oh my damn, Sitch just about to get serious. So Dark Knightmon makes his appearance again, which I think it's really cool that when he digivolves, his voice does this weird robotic thing. Like he just sounds more machine than anything else. I just like it. It's one of the cool things in this whole thing. And then he and Hikari, from what we hear from Patamon, they seem to be resonating, and Patamon also lets us know that some new power couldn't be born, or is going to be born from this, like, and it's kind of bad. But Ty rushes in like any good big brother, because you know I have younger siblings, and I do have sisters too. Like, you want to save your younger sibling, so he rushes in like a good big brother to save his sibling. Greymon and Bergermon make their appearance and come out to play alongside our boy Pegasusmon, you know, the new big baddie on the block, who we can't really gauge his power level because armored Digimons and certain other variant Digimon are of hybrid types don't actually have a level. So I guess like the potential or the ceiling or the cap for their abilities are only as far as I guess they're willing to take it or use them, or if they can even learn or develop any newer abilities. So with them getting on the scene, everybody's basically about to get the scrapping, and the guys are helping clear off the little soldiers that Dark Knightmon have summoned. And then you see Hikari vanish inside of Dark Knightmon, and like the power of her and him merging, like Patamon said, it's starting to well, and it creates this what I want to say looks like a pesky vestige of Millenniummon. Like, I guess it's the essence of Millenniummon just appearing behind him, and then it vanishes as his rebirth process, as the Vademon let us know it's kind of in the beginning stage but approaching its final stages, with this resurrection being the last thing needed in order for him to be fully revived. Then Dark Knightmon begins to grow in size, which I wasn't sure how this meant anything or what was actually going to happen. And Ty is still not questioning a single thing, not beating himself up, still, keeping the courage high. He knows he's going to get his sister back, or he's going to try his damnedest to get his sister back. And then that's when we kind of transition over to seeing Hikari inside of Dark Knightmon in this ethereal form, stating that, she's looking out to this light in the distance, and she was, that's that light that's always been calling her. Like, this is what's always been, talking to her all those years, even when she was younger, because apparently she's been in tune with the light a lot since a young age. But we get back out to seeing Bergermon being defeated, and she digivolves. But let me tell you, I'm not an animation snob of any kind. But when she digivolved into Garudamon this time around, y'all, bro, that thing looked derpy. I mean, it looked like it stank. I was like, why does she look the way she looked? It was almost like Doodle Bob just came out of nowhere and drew her, like, just drew her, bruh. I was like, it's so ugly, but I have to appreciate it for what it is, because she's fighting off Dark Meldrumon, which she does succeed in beating Dark Meldrumon, and I'm like, all right, cool, that's great. And then as we see Hikari in a weakened state continually trying to get towards this light, we slowly see her body fading away as well. But you see as she walks, she explains that, like I said earlier, this light has been the thing that's been calling her all this time, but then the darkness inside of that body begins to try and stop her and keep her from that light. And I couldn't express or relate to you all how amazing that is, because if you remember back in D2, like with the Dark Sea, they really are playing at the fact that these children are chosen for a reason. They're really giving us that there's not just something to being the hope and light or the partners to the holy Digimon that bring about these great changes within the Digidestined. I'm like, all right, look. Oh, sorry, I hit my stand. I was like, yo, look at them doing these things, piecing all these pivotal things together, or playing at some subtle nuances that you may or may not recall, or things that you may or may not like. But in this case, your boy liked it. All right, so as the energy from below surges, Ty readies himself to get back to his sister. He's hell-bent, like I said, he's hell-bent on getting his sister back above any and all costs. So he keeps pushing. Nothing is going to stop him from reaching Hikari. And, just as she said, the light as she is, she's also got faith that her big brother will rescue her. And, she keeps reaching out towards this light, and she's like, my brother's going to come for us. Like, don't be afraid. She just tells it to reach out and take her hand. And then, folks, we finally get Gatomon, or Tailmon for those of you who want to go by the literal translations or the Japanese version. And it kind of takes shape, and you see the crest of light. And I'm like, this is so fire. Pure fire. Our girls have finally been united. I'm like, it's at long last. I wasn't sure how long it was going to take, but I knew it was coming. Like, if Patamon's got his whole thing, there can't be anything else stopping Gatomon from finally showing up. And then Millenniummon from inside, or that pesky vestige I was telling you about, shows up and tries to attack our girls on the inside. And as Hikari cries out, War Greymon takes the stage, y'all. And I mean, the animation, like they did, it kind of looked almost like if you've seen the fight between Goku and Jiren, not saying that it was that type of thing, but the animation style was so clean on watching Tai with this damn Digivice, like he was almost getting ready to go Super Saiyan himself, but you see it just swirling, and then the animation for War Greymon to do its thing, and then boom, he comes out of nowhere and does his thing. And I mean, it was just so crisp. And War Greymon breaks out the Brave Tornado, which I can't remember what it was called in the original, because I've been trying to just remember and use those names because that's what I like to say. But with nothing else, he busts through the Dark Knightmon, who's basically, they notice he's kind of withering away also, like he's fading, because he and Hikari are to be sacrifices for the resurrection. So his body's disappearing also. So he makes it inside with ease, gets our girls out, and I'm just like, man, you know, it's amazing. But we see that piece of that vestige kind of disappear, and it was just like, oh, you know, it got away. I was like, dang. So I thought it was gonna kind of go out with them. Not to say that it would end Millennium Mon, like no, by no means that was gonna happen. But I just wanted to see some of it disappear. So when we get back to that, hold on. Let me backtrack. So when they didn't succeed, the Vaidmon, hear me out. There was this bit where you see the Vaidmon like, oh, shame, shame, shame. Like the way they were saying shame in Japanese, it made me holler, folks. I'm talking about, I was dying. I'm like, this probably has to be one of the funniest episodes. It's one of the funniest for me. I haven't laughed as much at anything other than this one. I've chuckled here and there at some of them, but this was the funnier one for me. And then they also let us know, like, but Millennium Mon has successfully gotten himself back to his original crystal in FAGA. I don't know what that is. I don't want to say it out because it sounds kind of wrong just trying to say it out, but I'll just say FAGA. They didn't really explain what that was. And then we finally see a true introduction of our girls meeting each other fully for the first time. You know, Gatomon, aka Tailmon, and not just any Tailmon or Gatomon, the holy Digimon, Tailmon. Put some respect on her name. Like they're letting it be known. This is the Gatomon with the holy tail ring. This is the Tailmon with the holy tail ring. This is a holy Digimon. Respect the name. If you ain't gonna do nothing else or catch these lightning paws or whatever it's called in Japanese, because I really don't know. And just like that, man, we have all our destined here with us, folks. We have everybody here. And now who's to say what happens? Because with Millennium Mon's first plan foiled, he's in the cut, basically waiting to try the next thing to get himself resurrected. But who's to say what happens? I don't know what's gonna happen, but all I know is I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in episode 34 and so on and so forth. And if you've made it this far in the video and you hadn't already subscribed for your boy, man. Y'all made me feel real special with the last one. Like I was like, yo, the love, the comments, I enjoyed it, man. I love talking to you guys. So please feel free to run it up, talk, thumbs it up, share it, all that good stuff. And I will holler at y'all for episode 34. We're gonna keep riding this train, y'all. And I thank y'all so much. Y'all be good, be blessed. You already know the rest of it. Wash your hands, wash your ass, stay safe. Peace.